Jeff, I actually want to ask you just, it's been on Friday, it'll be a year since you guys flew home from DC. Remember you back several months ago kind of detailing what the day was like, but do you remember what you were thinking? And I'm certain you weren't thinking it will be 10 months before you would be back on the ice.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't thinking, I knew it was a big deal for sure at that point. Obviously when we had kind of shut down, international travel at that point, I think President Trump was on TV the night before, and then the NBA had shut down. I knew it was a big deal. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if our season was going to continue or not continue. But I sure didn't think I'd be sitting here coming up on, St. Patrick's Day and a lot of things still being kind of, the world still not being close to normal. So I didn't think it would be 10 months before we'd get back on the ice. I didn't think it would be a year and we'd still not, have limited fans. I really didn't see that. He just didn't foresee it coming. So, it's been a long grind, I think, for everybody. Hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel here where we can get as close to normal as possible.
How did you guys handle those weeks before, it was announced that the remainder of the season would not be played? I mean, you couldn't really work out, you couldn't really have practices. Like, how did you handle staying prepared and amidst so much uncertainty?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, it was really, really uncertain. It was as unknown as anything I've been a part of. I think unknown is a hard thing for lots of people. I think there's, it can cause stress on people. And, I think one of the things that happened early was the players were allowed to go home. So then we knew at that point it wasn't going to be, a quick turnaround, and that at some point, if we did get going again, there would be a kind of a revamp period. So, I don't think it was as matter of, I think it was really hard on the players to know, like, did they go into summer workout mode? Did they try to stay ready to get back on the ice, not knowing when that would be? I think that was definitely hard. It was hard to map out their summer schedules. And I think it was hard on, from a coaching perspective and from my perspective, it was a weird time. Was our year over? We started doing some things that we would do at the end of the year in terms of, kind of looking at everything, looking at how we played, looking at areas to be better, looking at all that stuff, but not knowing for sure if we were going to get back a chance to play again or not. Now, we also at some point made the decision if we were going to get a chance to play again, we would, almost use it as a new training camp, and it didn't have to be an extension of the season. So the unknowns were difficult, though. There's zero doubt about that.
You guys were hit with 5 positives the first week of the season going into that Chicago game. I mean, in retrospect, would you have handled anything differently? I mean, at that point, I think it was still fairly okay, the league protocol and everything, and guys wearing masks everywhere but on the ice. There's still so much adjustment to the new parameters.
Yeah. Well, I think first off, in over the last 12 months, I think everybody's had to learn on the go. And I think, a lot of people in decision-making positions, and I'm not speaking of myself, I'm just saying people in decision-making positions have been second-guessed on a lot of things. And the reality is there was a lot to learn on the fly, and that's just the reality of it. I think, the fact that now we've instituted the rapid tests on game days has been a real positive. I think, what the situation that happened with us was, if I don't have proof of this, but it sure seemed to me like we got the transmission from the players that we played against in Carolina and the guys that were on the ice against them. And so now the rapid testing, we've made an adjustment in the National Hockey League, and now the rapid tests, I think, help potentially eliminate that. Now, we've had some false positives, and it can be a pain in the neck a little bit. Some guys miss game that they shouldn't maybe miss, but it also, could have potentially kept people, in maybe end up keeping people out of games that shouldn't be in games. So I think that's been a real positive move that the NHL has made. I thought we had done a really good job here of not getting, infected from the outside. And it was just one of those things that the team we were playing happened to have it, and it got transmitted.
Leslie, is this something like this just good for, kind of emphasizing having perspective? I mean, you guys still get to do something, a great job. And, and play, coach in the NHL, even in difficult circumstances. There's obviously for everybody a ton of stuff that's not ideal, but something to be said for having perspective on being positive.
100%. Listen, anything that we've had to go through, me personally, I'll just speak to my own self, has been minor compared to what a lot of other people have to go through. And we when you get, I don't think any of us take it for granted, but it's easy in your day-to-day life to get used to things, and all of a sudden, what we do for a living was shut down and we couldn't do it. And I think it definitely gains perspective of how important every day is. And, we've had, all of us have been touched, I'm sure, with different people that have had difficulties with the virus. And so I think when that happens, it's a good perspective again to, I'm super thankful of the health of my family. I'm super thankful of the health of my extended family, and that so far we haven't had any cases that have been real detrimental. But I certainly have friends that have, and I think it's just certainly these types of times are good for perspective.
Lastly, just were you affected by the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, or watching?
That's a good question, Helene. We never fell short, I guess is what I'd say. We found a way to come up with something. That was an interesting time too, between that and the, any kind of Clorox or whatever. I mean, it was not, I walked into a CVS one day and happened to find a couple of Clorox wipes, and it was like gold at that time. So it was like nothing I ever thought I'd go through, and hopefully we don't have to go through it again.
Thank you very much.
Next up, Answer Khan, I'm live.
Yeah, Jeff, just follow up on that a little bit. Even after they finished the bubble and Tampa won the cup and everything, and then there was a second wave that hit, and it seemed like there was some uncertainty about when this season would start, or whether or not, even if there would be a season. I mean, did you have any doubts, or was there any concerns that they might just cancel the entire season at that point?
I honestly didn't know. I never really felt like we were going to cancel the season, but that's not to say that it never crept into, wait a minute, maybe that could happen. I mean, I really felt like we were going to find a way to play, but then as it got worse a little bit in that December time period, and they were predicting real bad things in January. I just wasn't sure, so it was an odd period. We weren't sure if we were going to get started in November, and then we weren't sure if we were going to get started in our early December, and then what was going to be like around Christmas time and all that. We just didn't know, and I think we're thankful. Again, this goes back to the fear of the unknown. It was certainly a good feeling to know a start date and get going, and obviously we didn't know how it was going to work out exactly, but it was good to have that start date.
All in all, considering everything that's happened, I mean, it looks like they're going to be able to finish at least get a 56-game season in with complete playoffs. And does that feel fortunate that it looks like that's going to happen?
Knock on wood on that, Ansar. So far, so good. I think the NHL has done a great job of managing the very, very difficult situations. I think there's a number of teams that have been affected, certainly including us. And I think, it looks again like there's light at the end of the tunnel for us as a society, and that'll only help, us be able to finish the season. But every day is a new day, so we'll keep attacking every day.
And also, just one more thing, just you talk about the Glendenning line, and just those three guys. It seemed like they played together a lot this season. Just the energy that they've provided, and they all kind of play that similar north-south kind of game. It seems like they really mesh well.
Yeah, that was the hope when we put the line together, and I do think they all complement each other well. When one of those pieces is missing or not quite as good, they have the ability to, create energy and momentum for us, just with the ability to put the puck in behind the other team, forecheck them hard and playing the O-zone. But they also have the ability to go up and spend minutes against the other team's top lines, and we haven't necessarily used them exclusively that way. But like last night, they had points line a lot, and I think they did a fairly good job against them. So I think, together they've been a really good combination. I think they all think the game the same way, and I think it complements each other's skills.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Next up, Ted Colfin, Detroit News.
I'm with you in terms of the Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
Gold there for a while, but that's not an issue in the Colfin household anymore. Trust me.
Yeah, we've all stocked up now. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you may have answered it before, but what did you do to fill up your time there? I mean, that whole year. Did you do anything in terms of hockey, coaching, or hobby you picked up? Because let's face it, there was a lot of time to kill there for a while.
Well, I mean, over the course of the whole time period, it was, everything from I always go into a kind of a discovery mode, meaning you go back and you look at everything you did, everything you've done, how you play, that whole discovery process. Is there a different approach in whatever that might be? Drills, what are the core drills we want to do? What are the, those types of things. I was on a number of Zoom calls with other coaches where it's kind of, again, a discovery process of learning from others and getting ideas and sharing ideas. And I was on a number of those calls for a long period of time, to a point I certainly got sick of Zoom. I gave a few talks to different teams, whether it be junior teams or the USA Hockey or things like that. And then had some family time. At one point in the summer, I said, hey, we're going to enjoy the summer. And it was beautiful. It was a gorgeous summer, and we had good family time then too. And, the one positive of the whole thing, if I would have said there's one positive, it's that, I spend more time with my kids, probably more time with my wife than I normally get a chance to do. And whether it was watching movies together, whether it was watching shows together, whether it was going on walks with my wife, which I've never really done much, that part of it certainly is, our family's grown closer because of the time we spent together.
You talk about Adam Ernie. I mean, you guys showed confidence in him last year in the respect that, you kept him here, even though he seemed to be struggling in some aspects or whatnot. But, I mean, he's had, for the time he played, he's had decent production, done a nice job, it seems like, overall for you this season. Yeah,
he has. He's done a good job, and I think he's earned more and more ice time as we've gone along. He's earned, I think he got on the power play as guys were out, and I think he did a good job with it. So he stayed on the power play, and he's earned it. That's the one thing I'd say with Adam is he's earned any of the opportunities he's gotten, and good for him. Good for our hockey team. He's a big guy, so he can play against other teams, good big players. I think he's done a good job of creating a little more give and go game. And I also think the line that he plays on, again, with Glennie and Helmer, it kind of accentuates each other's skills. They don't overcomplicate it. They keep it pretty simple, and they get to the net hard. And ultimately, they've been successful because of it.
Did you have to say anything to Greiser afterward or today? I mean, again, kind of a frustrating night, kind of depicts almost his whole season. I mean, what do you think? Just a little bit snake bit, or what do you think? Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to him today about the game last night. I would just say, it's unfortunate. I thought he played a good game against obviously a really good team, or probably the best team in the league right now. And he played a really good game, and it's unfortunate, but we all got to just hang in there, and that's him, us, everybody. And today's a new day, and we got to attack it. And that's just the reality of it. So, I think he's done a pretty good job and does a good job of having a short memory like you have to do as a goalie in this league. He's going to have to continue, and he'll get another opportunity. He's just going to go out and attack it. Perfect. Thanks for this, Joe. Thanks, guys.
That's it for us today. Thank